the best advice we ever got. Someone told us to start as an LLC. And so I remember sitting in the bank at like 19 years old or something with Nick and some of the other guys just working out, like signing documents, and I didn't even care at the time.
Why are you?
Trying to build it as a business and to treat it that way, I think taught us a lot about just having people around us that we could kind of structure it right and keep the fun where the fun could be, and then deal with that stuff when we had to deal with all that.
Hey, this is Jordan Hill with the Dirt to Sky Business Podcast, and I'm so thankful to Collier Law and SMI Real Estate for sponsoring today's episode. I'm really excited today because I'm here with Nick and Ty. How are you guys?
Great.
Doing great.
All right.
Beautiful day in Eugene.
Yeah. It is
Excited
a
to be
nice
here.
day. Yeah. So Talbot Brothers, you are country music artists, and you are just happen to be in our neck of the woods. So thanks for sitting down.
We started playing here at this winery, Sweet Cheeks Winery. Shout out to them.
Yeah.
Way back in the day, and it just kind of became a thing that we did every summer. And so we still come down, and between kind of our spring and summer tour, we try to take some time and.
We had a pretty good relationship with the owner who passed some years ago. Yeah. And we really connected with him. And so even later, his daughter, she kept it going and just like wanted to keep bringing us back. And so it's just like really special show to do.
I love that. Like when you can make those connections.
Yeah.
Even when it's early on, just to always keep that going. That's really special.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So where are you from originally? Like what's kind of each of your backgrounds and stories leading up to now?
Well, we're both from Imperial, Nebraska, which is a Colorado-Kansas border town down in the Southwest. And we moved around a little bit, but then kind of got some ties with the Northwest a little bit later in life. And
our mom was born in St. John's in Portland.
Oh, yeah.
And so we came out to visit one time and because, she told us about it, and we ended up finding a manager and a studio and this whole thing. So we put a band together and started making music out here and kind of gravitated out here.
So wait, how old were you guys like when you started like putting your band together?
Oh man, that would have been probably 2014 or 15. I think we decided to come out here. So like right after we both dropped out of college to start a business is what we told our dad, our parents.
That is not an uncommon story for business owners.
We got the biggest piece of advice we got as a band, and we were just literally after shows, we'd get in the van with the band and we'd take a stack of cash and just split it, hand it out to everybody. But the best advice we ever got, someone told us to start as an LLC. And so I remember sitting in the bank at like 19 years old or something with Nick and some of the other guys just working out, like signing documents, and I didn't even care at the time.
Why are you?
Trying to build it as a business and to treat it that way, I think taught us a lot about just having people around us that we could kind of structure it right and keep the fun where the fun could be, and then deal with that stuff when we had to deal with all that.
Right. And that is really difficult for so many business owners, especially in the creative space, and like artists like you both are. Like it's just so different to have to run the back end. It's just very different. So you said you had someone give you that advice. Did you have people in your life then that were kind of showing you the back end business, or were you just kind of having to like learn as you go?
We kind of shot from the hip. Being born and raised where we were, it's like a farming town of 2,000 people, and so everybody would kind of come home and take over the family farm, and we decided we wanted to like leave town and start playing music all over. And so we were really fortunate to meet people along the way that kind of gave us like pointers, or just said, hey, this is kind of what I think might help you guys. And we just kind of pick and chose, and over the years decided to kind of build it the way that we do. We don't have a record label or anything, but we have a pretty strong team, and it's just we've failed a lot. I think that's the key. Like to fail and fail well. I think somebody told us that once.
Like our budget meetings at the end of the year are always kind of crazy. Because we're just trying to figure out, like, there's so many expenses involved in traveling as a band. And, you know, you think about it when you work for another company and you're an employee, the overhead is kind of taken care of, right? They give you a card and they're like, just use it wherever you need to. And Nick and I are the ones that have to answer to the places we spend our money, right? So it's like if we go have a work meeting with the guys and have lunch or whatever, you know, that comes back to Nick and I, and then we have to kind of decide how we're going to handle that.
Right. Our CPA doesn't always like how many Taco Bell receipts there are, but they find a way to write it off.
We always do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you found that you've learned how to like leverage others for the things that like a CPA, like there's, you know.
Yeah, I think that's the key is like delegating and having a team you can trust. I think that's something we're still trying to figure out. You know, I think because the landscape of music changes so much, like any other industry, it's kind of hard to navigate what might be happening at the time that's relevant versus even like a year or two ago. You know, like navigating the world of TikTok and social media and brand deals is different now than it was 5 years ago.
Even when we started out, I mean, Instagram sort of had just kind of become a thing. So we were a touring band, basically running the business from the standpoint of what tour cost and, you know, how to, you know, we worked other jobs in the beginning to make ends meet. And I think the very first tour we did, Nick and I pooled like all the money we made in the summer to afford to go. And once Instagram and like social media and stuff came up, it changed the dynamic because it was this basically a free platform for you to promote yourself. And we both definitely struggled with like getting on board with that because you just want to be an artist that's like you make good music and people find it, but it just doesn't work that anymore. Like people will find an artist playing in the forest behind his house now, right? Just in front of the camera. So that's something we're trying to like jump on board with and be a part of.
You're so right. Like it's literally where people go first. And I mean, I'll admit, like sometimes that's where I have found artists that I just love is from the algorithm. It knows what I like. So it will put you in front of people that would like you. And so it's a beautiful thing and it's free, but also it adds a whole new layer that 10 years ago. Like you wouldn't have had to think about.
I think it kind of challenges us, the artist side of us, where we, you know, creating content and doing things isn't necessarily what we signed up for. It was just the songwriting and the playing. But it's kind of made it be a challenge in a good way for us that it's kind of like, you know, I think hunting or fishing, you know, you got to go out and see kind of what you can catch, what you can find. And sometimes you find it along the way and kind of helps us think outside the box and kind of find a different way to have fun with it. We try to have fun, not always with it, but
once in a while. I think that's a great like mindset where instead of just looking at it like I don't like this, I don't want to even be good at it, you know, but you're looking at it like, okay, like let's attack this. Let's figure it out. Let's try to have fun. So I think that's really,
you can try
awesome.
to fight the machine, but I think sometimes it's just about leveraging it to make it work for you. And it's easy to get lost in the comparison game or looking at what other people do. And I think we are all guilty of that. To some extent with social media, it's like everyone's putting their best face on and everyone's looking, you know, at things and comparing themselves. So we try to get our heads out of that space and just be like, what's the lane that we're in? What are we doing? And you know, I think that can be hard to do sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like you can't please everybody, but it's like you don't want to. Like, who are you authentically, and like, how can you find the people that get you? And that's way more powerful.
I think any business or product should think that way, right? It's like there's a ton of us out here as artists and a ton of different kinds of music. And we know that we're not going to be for everyone, but the people that we are for that enjoy our stuff, like they're so diehard. Right? Like it's like the most like connected, especially in the last couple of years. I think we've gotten a lot more honest with our songwriting stuff, but just to, you know, compare it to a product, like not everyone is going to buy this certain kind of clothing, right? But someone is going to, and they're going to love it. And then you focus on those people and building your brand around those people. And, for us, fortunately, it's just like we've kind of been able to be ourselves the whole time. And then, people come around that because it is music.
Yeah. And it's hard to do that sometimes because of opportunities that might come up. It's like,
right.
Oh man, if we could change this or sacrifice this one thing, then we might be able to walk through this door. And we've been really diligent about just kind of sticking to our guns and saying no to some of those things that might cause us to try to step outside that authenticity, because our fans, our people would recognize that pretty quick.
Yeah.
We never wanted to be that way. So
I think that's really powerful. And that's something that translates to any industry, is compromising your vision or who you are. Or have you ever you have an example of like a time where either you wish you had, stayed where you knew you needed to be, or
there was a few, specifically as a band, you have like labels come along, right? And they'll say, hey, we kind of need to make you look like this or change this one thing, kind of what you were saying, in order for you to fit here with us. And, it's tempting as a band, because I think, especially maybe not as much now with social media, like we were talking about, but it's tempting as a band to just kind of sign your life away and go, because they're going to give you X amount of money and kind of this path, right? That Nick and I have sort of felt like we always say that there's no flight plan or manual for this, right?
Right.
Especially now, it's ever changing. Like artists get discovered sitting on a doorstep like Justin Bieber or whatever, or like, Nick and I come from like watching Johnny Cash and all these bands like hit the road hard and do radio.
Yeah.
And that sort of, it's still there, but it's not as as crucial. So, I think we've had several times where we thought maybe we should do this, but the nice part about being brothers and working together, and our mom always said that since we were kids, before we even did music, she's like, I just feel like you guys' bond is so strong that you're going to work together somehow. Like whether that would have been construction or whatever. And it's been good. And that's the thing. Like we can count on each other to try to figure these things out and make these decisions together.
Yeah. I think that's so great having, family, yes, but a business partner that you trust and that you can call each other out and you can, and so, all right. Well, thank you both for being on Dirt to Sky with me.
Yes.
You guys are awesome. I'm so excited to hear your show live
after
this.
What a cool spot for this.
And we'll talk to you again soon, I hope.
Okay. Thank you.